Before My Hero Academia premiered and took anime fandom by storm, there was another king of Western superhero-style shows on the block. After more than 2 years, it's finally ready to make its triumphant anime return. Yeah! The series wasn't always a member of the anime and manga S-class like it is today. Its author, simply known as One, started from the very bottom of the anime rankings as a no-name web manga author. Just as he was beginning to gain widespread recognition, outside circumstances forced him to go on hiatus and potentially lose all the progress he'd made. I guess it's only fitting that the life of one of the ultimate shonen storytellers is itself a modern-day shonen story. Like many great heroes, One was an unlikely underdog destined for greatness. Back when he was in grade school, he was determined to be a manga artist. As One said, it wasn't a case of simply trying to be a manga artist and testing the waters to see if it was worth a shot. Rather, my thought process was to decide right off the bat that I was going to be one, so the rest was just a matter of effort. I guess that's how I decided my whole future while still just a kid. One spent his student years drawing, filling over 50 notebooks with sketches, but despite his clear passion, there were those who weren't happy with the path he'd chosen. When One's parents found a gag manga he'd made, Middle-Aged Man, my favorite title ever, they scolded him, and after that traumatic experience, he decided to hide his manga from the world through the rest of his time in grade school and college. As One put it, what hurt the most wasn't getting chewed out for goofing off, rather it was having something I loved to do be rejected. Oh boy, you could talk to my brother about that. Or me. Or anyone. Like many shonen heroes before him, One had great potential, but for a time he trained in secrecy. He was a real-life Saitama, sticking to his intense training regimen. But it was the emergence of the webcomic format that finally encouraged One to step out from beneath that metaphorical waterfall and flex his carefully honed manga muscles to the world. He got his start on manga sites designed for mobile phones because he didn't have a laptop at the time. I know that life. But that brought its own issues. Back then, phone cameras were so bad that he had to draw his comics at the tiny size his camera would capture, which limited his artistic growth. Although he gained an audience on that platform, he knew he needed an upgrade. Eventually, One started making a manga digitally, and in 2009, he released his first computer-made manga, One Punch Man. Yes. Originally, it was supposed to be a simple one-shot creation for One to practice the manga software he was using, but as we all know, it became much more than that. One Punch Man got a larger response than he expected, so he drew a second chapter, which got even more people clamoring for further entries in the series. One decided to get serious and came up with the entire plot outline for the series that he's still following to this day. After over a decade committed to honing his skills, hiding his work, and using limited tools, One finally put his work out into the world, and the world loved it. Myself included. In less than a year, One Punch Man amassed a devoted following, generating thousands of comments on every update. But then, one day, it just stopped. One announced that his beloved series would be going on an extended hiatus because he'd gotten that bane of all artists, a job. Well, a job that wasn't making manga full-time, that is. Suddenly, One's lifelong dedication to making manga had to end. His work schedule was so busy that even on his days off, he had no time to work on his manga. The man built to make manga had to stop, and according to him, not being able to draw manga was hell. But whenever a hero experiences a setback, no matter how major, a ray of hope shines on their unfortunate situation. For One, his ray of hope came in the form of a humble tweet from famed manga artist Yusuke Murata, the creator of Eyeshield 21. That tweet simply stated, One Punch Man got updated. One had some fans in high places. And another tweet sealed his fate about a year later. One tweeted that he wanted to quit his job to pursue manga. He did have some web manga bragging rights, but One was at the limit of what he could do on his own. He needed an ally who could come to his aid, and he found that ally in Yusuke Murata. Murata had never read a webcomic before One Punch Man, but when an illustrator he followed tweeted about the series, he checked it out and ended up pulling an all-nighter to read the whole thing. Murata was in a bit of a rough spot himself, feeling like he was at a creative dead end with the series he was currently illustrating, Donten Prism Solar Car. One Punch Man inspired him and rekindled his love for his craft, and Murata stated, "Once I read One Punch Man, I knew it was exactly what I was looking for." Murata desperately wanted to work with One, and at the time Murata was under contract with Shonen Jump, so he felt conflicted about making the ask. But when he saw One's tweet, Murata was worried that One might stop making manga altogether, so he reached out, and by doing so, provided One with something that all our favorite shonen heroes have, a loyal and talented friend. Murata's offer to collaborate may have saved One's manga career. With the experienced industry veteran on his side, One was confident enough to quit his job and pursue a manga career full-time. However, Murata was in dire straits of his own at the time. When asked why he'd go so far as to abandon his Shonen Jump contract to work with One, Murata said, "I broke out in hives, my inner organs were infected, and I couldn't breathe. I was in the hospital when I thought, I guess people die just like that. If I'm gonna die, I want to do something I really love to do. I want to draw manga with Mr. One." Murata was determined to pursue creative fulfillment at all costs. It was in the digital pages of One's crudely drawn manga that he found a path to that fulfillment. Of course, we all know that our heroic duo found a happy ending. Yusuke Murata used his industry contacts to find a publisher for his redrawn version of the series, and they headlined the launch of Weekly Young Jump's digital manga website. The pair have enjoyed great success ever since. Within a year and a half, the physical tankobon release of the series had sold over 2 million copies. When it came time for the series to receive its anime adaptation, the production attracted some of the best animators in the industry. It finally found a home with the prolific Studio Madhouse, but for season 2, the show will be animated by the Studio JC staff, known for their work on Revolutionary Girl Utena and Food Wars. Just as it resonated with Yusuke Murata all those years ago, One Punch Man has entertained millions around the globe, myself included. All the while, One has continued his quest for self-improvement. With Murata illustrating, he could have just taken a break and written the story, but One continued One Punch Man's original web manga on his own site. In fact, he's the kind of guy to start a second series immediately after launching a successful debut series. While One Punch Man faced the early obstacles of One being an industry outsider, the same was not true for his follow-up series, and One made sure to use all of his hard-earned experience and expertise to make his next manga unforgettable. Mob Psycho 100 debuted in Ura Sunday in April of 2012 and proved that One's art could be on the same level as his writing. Even with his somewhat messy art, One has always had a remarkable sense for composition and design. His style always worked, but he'd been slowly and steadily improving over time. Comparing art from the early chapters of One Punch Man's web manga to art from the end of Mob Psycho shows just how far he's come. Of course, many manga authors improve their art over time. Just think of the incredible evolutions of Berserk's Kentaro Miura and Jojo's Bizarre Adventures Hirohiko Araki. But because One posted his amateur work online for all to read, we've been able to follow a lot of his artistic journey. And Mob Psycho's success goes beyond One's personal improvements as a creator. The series was immediately popular and quickly got an anime adaptation as well as a live-action Netflix series. What? What? How am I just finding out about this? How? Okay, so live-action adaptations can be a blessing and a curse, but it goes to show just how far One has come from his humble beginnings in webcomics. Now, if you'll let me keep leaning on this shonen metaphor, Mob Psycho is to One Punch Man as Shippuden is to Naruto. It's the product of an artist's evolution, and it's bestowed on an audience hungry for more. Like the best shonen heroes, One is an incredible inspiration. He's overcome challenge after challenge through sheer commitment to his passion. He's made a career out of what he loves, but unlike shonen heroes, he didn't need ki bless or stands to accomplish his dreams, although I would not be surprised if he had some crazy powers like Rohan. In any case, I'm pumped for season 2 of One Punch Man, and really whatever One has for us next. Maybe he'll tell us his real name. My real name is Yodoye, and this is Getting the Robot, your anime watch list. If you like this video, subscribe.